Hello, I am on Sharosugil Street. Sharosugil is a commercial district near Seoul National University station. Since it is a commercial area close to Seoul National University, it is a place where you can easily see college students. The reason this place became known to people was because of the relatively cheap rent for the building. Word of mouth began to spread in 2010 when unique restaurants targeting these students began to open. At first, it was a place that Seoul National University students visited, but gradually, people outside the university also found out about it. Generally, you can easily see young people in the shopping districts near universities. There are about 5 famous university streets in Seoul: Hongdae, Sinchon, Daehakro, Kondae, and this Sharosugil. Of these, this Sharosugil is a street that has become famous relatively recently. You could say it is the representative university shopping district in the southern part of Seoul. However, as people flock in, the building rent also rises. The current size of Sharosugil Street has shrunk compared to before. Nevertheless, since there are large apartment complexes nearby, many local residents also visit. I've been here before when it was crowded. The street atmosphere has changed a lot since then. There seem to be more bars on this street than before. Around 2017 and 2018, there were so many different types of restaurants that it felt similar to Itaewon, but I hardly see any now. It seems like there are more Korean barbecue restaurants than before. This kind of street scene can be seen commonly in Korea, even if it is not necessarily here. I think I understand why the number of visitors to this street is decreasing after walking around it myself. However, the purple shop on the right is quite famous. It is a wine bar called Swirling. It is quite well known to wine lovers because of its unique and quiet atmosphere. If you look to the right, you will see a store with bright yellow lights. It is a Korean pork barbecue franchise called Baekdon. It started from that store and has now expanded to its 12th branch. It is a famous restaurant because it is a franchise that started on this street. There are no people on the street, but if you look inside the store, you can see people eating dinner. I visited around 6:30 p.m. There may have been people who hadn't left work yet, so there may not have been many visitors. If you look at the store on the left, you can see that there are quite a few people there. It is a Korean seafood restaurant called Sukine Joge Jeongol. Joge Jeongol is a Korean-style clam stew. If you look to the right, there is a Chinese restaurant. I think it sells Chinese malatang and hot pot dishes. It is a restaurant called Chongqing Mala Hot Pot. It is a famous malatang restaurant in this neighborhood. This place also usually has people waiting in line. In Korea, malatang was very popular. In 2022, it was one of the most ordered delivery foods among Korean women in their teens and 20s. Although the trend has passed, it is still a popular dish because Korean women like spicy food. On the right, you can see a pocha bar. Pocha means a Korean-style bar. Originally, it meant a bar where you eat in a tent on a street. Since the 2010s, bars that sell Korean alcohol and snacks have been called pocha. If you look to the left, you can see people coming out of the restaurant. That place is also a famous Korean pork barbecue restaurant called Chungcheong Samgyup. The store on the right has a lot of wreaths. It looks like the restaurant recently opened. There is a culture where acquaintances of the restaurant owner send wreaths like this as a congratulatory gesture. If you look to the right, you will see a shop with twinkling lights. It is a famous Bukimgae restaurant. It is called Manwoldang. Bukimgae is a traditional Korean food similar to Korean pancakes and pizza. It is a dish made by making thin batter and frying it on a pan. I see a mart here. It says it's open 24 hours. That's amazing. It seems to be a store that sells to the residents living nearby. I see more and more people. This street is the main street of Sharosugil Street. I'll walk to the right. Sharosugil is a commercial district formed on the road leading to Seoul National University Station and Nakseungdae Station. To the south is Seoul National University. As you can see from the map, it is close to the university. It is about a 30-minute walk away. So you can easily see Seoul National University students on this street. For your information, Seoul National University is the #1 university in Korea. If you look to the left in front, you will see a yellow store. It is a Japanese curry restaurant called Bodabapsang. I visited a few years ago and it was really delicious. I am glad to see that the store is still there. If you look to the right, you can see people sitting and waiting in front of the restaurant. It is a restaurant called Bokkeumdang that serves dak bokkeumtang dish. Dak bokkeumtang is a stew made with chicken and vegetables in a spicy sauce. Most Koreans like this dish, but foreigners probably don't like it because it's spicy. The yellow shop on the right is a German sausage restaurant. On the left is a Japanese makizushi restaurant. On the first floor on the left, you can see a really famous bingsu dessert shop. It's called Agung-i Bingsu. They sell Korean cold dessert dishes. This road has a wider variety of restaurants than the one we first walked on. This is the end of my walk along Sharosugil Street. If you walk to the left, you will reach Seoul National University. I will walk there. From here, you have to walk for about 20 minutes and go over the hill in front. I arrived at the main gate of Seoul National University. There is a sculpture symbolizing Seoul National University at the main gate. It is said to mean the key to finding the truth. Because it looks like the Korean letter Sha, Koreans call it Sha. That is why Seoul National University is nicknamed Sha University. The Sha in Sharosugil that we walked by earlier is also named after this university's cheerful nickname. I think there was an entrance ceremony at this university. There is a sign hanging on the sculpture that says 2025 Entrance Ceremony. The university emblem is engraved on the floor. That's it for my tour. Thank you for watching the video.